There are three basic kinds of Android applications that you most commonly encounter. There's a couple of other types as well, but we'll talk about those later. The three basic types of applications are a single screen app, a multiple screen app, and apps that really don't have any screens or they have minimal user interfaces. Let's look at each one of these in a little bit more detail. Single screen apps are apps that usually have just one activity that makes up the app. Remember, an activity in Android is basically just a screen or a single task that a user can do. You'll find that single screen apps are good for very basic simple functionality, like a stopwatch application that would start a timer and stop that timer. This is a great type of application to get started with in Android because it is simple to write and you don't have to worry much about passing data between screens and creating navigation. There actually aren't too many applications that are truly single screen apps though, because single screen apps are only going to work for very simple types of functionality. Multiple screen apps are just apps that have more than one activity that makes them up. You create apps with much more complex functionality in a multiple screen application, but it is also a bit more difficult because you have to worry about navigating from screen to screen and passing data back and forth. You'll find that most Android applications actually fall into this category because most applications naturally lend themselves to a flow of actions that a user can do. It is often difficult to cram a large amount of functionality into a single screen. A good example is an email application. Here you can see that I am looking at an inbox viewing activity, but then I can select an individual email to view the email details, which is another activity screen in Android. Some applications don't even have any activities at all. These types of applications are sometimes known as headless apps. An Android application can just provide a set of services that run in the background, or even just components that can be used by other applications. Some Android applications won't do anything until a certain type of message is broadcast by the operating system itself. Then they come to life and respond to that message. A good example is an app designed to play music in the background. You don't want to have this kind of application displaying a UI in order to work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do something else on your Android device. Instead, an app like this will usually just have a minimal UI for configuring the app, but will then really run in the background.